morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMTrading. Today's March 13th, 2019, and today is Wednesday morning. So we're in the second day of the Brexit vote. So a lot happening there with the GBP. It's been very volatile. So that's a major economic event of the day. Everything else is really secondary. There is a number coming out of the United States, core durable goods orders numbers coming out. But again, compared to the Brexit vote, the core durable goods is pretty much a minor event if you ask me. Okay, now looking at the markets, GBP has really been very volatile. Okay, and it's really because of, perhaps they're going to delay it. Not anybody is sure which way it's going to go. So with that said, just be aware that you want to be trading it or scalping it very lightly so you don't get hurt. Now the euro is struggling to stay alive. It did bounce yesterday. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. The Dow Jones in mid-range between its upper and lower limit, and JSE is still choppy. Okay, so the markets are still digesting where to go next. Now in terms of commodities, they know exactly where they're going. Gold is full steam ahead as it inches higher above 1300 to 1307, and oil inches to the top of the range. Now between this week and last week in gold, we've moved over 26 points on the upside. So that's a nice little rally there for gold. If you did take that, we spoke about it last week, that it was very strong. Now lastly, looking at stocks, okay, now you are able to trade BOEING stock. BOEING is an airline company out of the United States. It's listed on the New York Stock Exchange, and it's also one of the stocks you are available to trade on the system here on the MT4. So with that said, it's a really horrible thing what's going on there with the unfortunate event of the plane crash, and that led to the BOEING stock to actually tumult. Okay, now there are a few opportunities, and we'll take a look at them as the day progresses. But let's see what we can expect from today's trading. So we're starting here with the GBP USD. As you can see, we're trading at 131.48. We're above this 130 level, which is really nice. We tanked yesterday and then really shot up yesterday up to this area at 132.64 and then corrected it and back down to the 130. I mean, so it's in like almost a 200 pip range, okay, which is astronomical for this time of the year. But it's in consideration of the Brexit vote. It's a really major event, so this is normal. Okay, now which way is it going to go? Your guess is as good as mine at this stage, okay? However, you do want to be in a decent position. If you are scalping it, just make sure to, scalp the top of the area, or the top of the range in terms of shorting it and buying the bottom of the range. I don't want to be caught up with this because it could really move and extreme measures against you. Okay, so just be aware that this thing could really move even further. It looks like they're going to cancel it. They're going to delay the Brexit vote, but your guess is as good as mine in terms of the news that's coming out. So just stay tuned as the news continues to come out. Now looking at the Euro USD, we bottomed out. Okay, if you call that, at this level of 111.95, almost 112-ish, and we bounced above it to 12.94-ish level, about 100 pips above it. Now we're still below our resistance level of 113, and we are looking at a daily chart. Okay, so this is really important to just give you a perspective of how low we've gone on the Euro USD versus the dollar. Okay, really important to note that. Okay, so what was previous support is now resistance. So I would guess this 113.32-ish level would be a decent area to actually look to short it if we don't see any correction on the upside there. Now looking at gold, this was the beauty, and we mentioned this last week. Okay, this was really consolidating. We're looking at a 1 hour chart. Okay, consolidated last week and the previous week. Okay, around this area, 1281 was its real bottomish area, if you want to call it. We kind of mentioned it, and then it perked up on Friday, a pullback. Okay, just a little bit breaking that support level of 1293, but holding that 1290, and then boom. Okay, another rally on the upside there. So we're trading at 1307. Next real resistance level 1312, 1325, obviously, and 1345 on the upside. So at this level, we still can go higher. Okay, if the markets do turn around. Now, with this said, gold is getting stronger before the markets are selling off. So it's a little bit of a question, are the markets actually going to start selling off? Now looking at that Dow Jones, we're looking at a 4 hour chart here, and you can pretty much see they've been ranging between this upper limit of 26,170 at the beginning of the week and a low of 25,191. Okay, where if you remember, that was a little bit of a resistance area. Several times we tried to break it on these channels before, and with that said, okay, if it's holding this area and it's trading right in the middle, it's kind of a question mark which way it's going to go from here. Okay, so I wouldn't look to buy this necessarily because the markets are beaten up a little bit. However, you do want to just wait it out to see how things will actually play themselves out, especially with the Brexit vote. Okay, and then you'll have a little bit more conviction into jumping into a direction. Now, we spoke about the Boeing stock. Okay, now just to give you a perspective of Boeing, this is the symbol right here, Boeing. As you could look at it, we're looking at a 1 hour chart. I want to change that to a multi-monthly chart. Okay, just to give you a perspective of it. All right, now it's a very steady listed stock, very steady stock, which means that it pays dividends, it pays its investors a certain percentage of its revenues every quarter. It's one of the old school type of stocks. Okay, it's been in business. No one's going to take it out of business. Okay, there's only Airbus and Lockheed Martin that could possibly take it out of business, and they can't because they both have different type of industries that they cater to. Now, I don't want to get into whether or not Boeing aircrafts are safe or not. I don't know anything about that. Okay, but I do know a little bit about charting. Okay, now we have sold off tremendously here from 1450-ish level down to $375, which is about a $75 retracement over a week. Okay, now if you look at that, we're sitting right there at support right now on a monthly chart. Okay, so with that said, okay, and let's look at a 4-hour chart to give us perspective. See, we gapped down on Monday and then we rallied, which is basically people just trying to make it stronger in anticipation that it may go down further, and sure enough, it did go further. It was sold off. Now, if it breaks this 1375, then it could surely go back down to 300. Okay, this area is a very important area for it to hold so that it doesn't break lower. So I think what the money managers are going to do, they're going to look to try and hold this at this levels. Okay, so I would be a little bit hesitant getting into this large at this level, but I would look to actually size in a little bit just to make sure, that I'm in it, just to test it out. Like I'm talking about really small. Okay, and once you see it solidifies, it may still bounce. Okay, now with that said, that's when you have to really have the proof of the pudding, and you could get a little bit more aggressive about it. But for right now, this is just a news event. Okay, what happened in Nairobi, what happened with Lion Air are just rumors. Okay, in terms of if it was a mechanical error, if it was a plane issue, or anything else. So with that said, I really don't suspect it's going to affect Boeing in the long run. Okay, it may rattle the markets, which is doing very well right now, but I don't think it's going to rattle the markets moving into next year and future. Okay, I've seen this once before. It happened with Delta about 10 years ago, which is another airline company. It's not a manufacturing company. It is a specific airline company. But with that said, just be very cautious, okay? Because buying bottoms is not always the largest and not the best always deals. So just if you do decide to trade it small, okay, and be careful. Today is going to be very volatile. It's going to continue being very volatile, especially with Brexit, and especially if you're trading Boeing as well. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.